Hi everyone, my name is Vicky Druge. Welcome to my YouTube video. Today we're going to be learning how to make a drum keychain, and I use the scraps of deer hide to make these. So from time to time I make larger drums and I have all this deer hide scrap that I have to use up, and I can make things like this that are Christmas ornaments, magnets, you can put a magnet on the back, keychains, and I'm sure you have other great ideas for this small little project. Alright, here we go. Alright, so in order to do this project, you will need a scrap piece of leather, like this maybe, some scissors, pencil, a needle with an eye large enough for sinew to go through. This is waxed artificial sinew. You'll need some kind of a hoop. This is PVC pipe that my husband cut out for me. I have many of those. And a leather punch set on the smallest setting. This has the ability to cut different sized holes. I want it on the smallest setting. And a little bit of crazy glue or super glue. So in order to start, we're going to need to see how big our leather piece needs to be. Now, I've already measured mine, but when you do, you put your PVC pipe down or whatever you're using for a hoop, and you just kind of eyeball it and try to see if the leather's going to go around the edge, like so. I know that this cup will work really well for me. So I'm going to take my leather scrap. We will just snip off this piece. Put my cup down. Around that. Cut out the circle. Oops. You may do this with the hide wet or dry. I prefer to prepare this part with it dry. It just seems a little easier, but you can do it either way. And then I'll take my leather punch and punch about 3 millimeters in from the side, like so, and about a pencil width apart. And I'll punch the holes all the way around. And then I'll soak the hide for about 20 minutes in tepid water, room temperature water. And then when it's done, it'll be nice and flexible. Then I want to take about 2.5 feet of sinew. This particular kind, I think it's called 12 strand. You can peel it apart. And you're going to take your needle and put it. I'm going to leave a tail about 7-8 inches long and just sew all the way around like that. This is a really good way to use up some of those deer hide scraps. In the past, this has been a good project for school groups to do when they've come to Nia Bay to visit. One time my family got together, we made a whole bunch for a veterans dinner, and we gave keychains to the veterans. You can make Christmas ornaments out of them if you want, or a magnet. So for the magnet, you could take a round magnet like this and just hot glue it or glue it on the back like this. There's a lot of things you could probably do. I'm sure you guys could find something. Alright, now I'm going to take off my needle. Now this part of the deer hide was where the hair was, and this is the inside. I'm going to take my hoop and place it on the inside and just pull these strings pretty tight. And then tie a couple knots. Triple knot it. All right. Now I'm going to take the needle and thread one side so that we can start making the little handle parts. So I'm going to go to the opposite side of my knot and find a piece of sinew, not the hide, but the sinew, and I'm going to go under it. And I'm going to leave my needle on and very carefully tie a half knot. So it looks like that. And then I'm going to go on the side and find another piece of sinew. There's one. And now I'm going to take my needle off and put it on the other string. And go on the side again. Okay. And then I'll take the needle off. Now I'm going to knot it. Try to keep the knot right in the middle. Your knot can move. You can move your knot around. Didn't know if you knew that. There we go. Now, take a tiny drop of crazy glue and just dab it right on top of the knot, just so that it keeps that knot. What's going on here? Maybe. There we go. Just a brand new tube. Okay. Now this will take about a half a day to a day to dry. Dry it in room temperature conditions. Nothing too warm, nothing too cold. And then when your drum is dry, you can start to put the holes in it with a drill. I've used a 3/4 inch drill bit on this side, and I like that size hole. This size, I couldn't find my drill bit, and I used a different one. It's a little bit too big for me. You can use that size. And then just to give you an idea of how wide this is, there's a little guide for you. So I've drilled my holes. I'm going to take a piece of leather. Doesn't matter what kind. This is pretty thin. Put a key ring on there. You can use practical joke size, regular size, whatever you like. And then add anything you want for a bead. Something pretty. Okay. And your hole for these beads is going to have to be pretty large. And now I'm going to put this through here. There we go. And then you're going to need some kind of pliers. I prefer the bent nose. Now we're going to put this through to the other side. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a little bit of a fight, but really it doesn't take more than a couple minutes, it shouldn't, to get these in. So 30 seconds to 2 minutes out of your whole life just to kind of push that in. Be a little bit patient. There it is. And put it through. You can add some beads. Now, if you're wondering if it's going to be that hard every time you do it, it's not. As you can see, the hide goes in very far on this drum, and so it was very difficult for me to pull these through. This one was much easier. You can see how much more space there is to work with in this drum. So sometimes if you want your hide to go over this just a little bit, you can trim it back a little. Of course, after it's wet, if it's a very thin piece of hide, it might stretch more than you expect. So and there you are. Little drum keychain. And you can trim these parts. You may paint this later. This I've tried acrylic paint, soy paint, and I'll tell you, soy paint does not work. I was excited about it. I saw it on the market. Ooh, ah. Tried it, and the soy paint popped right off. So just acrylics will be fine. It kind of looks like this. Now this has a little bit of a clear coat on it. You can kind of see some of the sparkle. It's a sparkly clear coat.
Thank you for watching my YouTube video on how to make drum keychains. I hope you had a lot of fun. Stay tuned. I'm going to do more videos on how to make drums, how I fix loose drums. There might be other ways on fixing loose drums. How to make drum beaters with either a leather top or a fabric top, and how to make rattles and all kinds of other things. So stay tuned. All right, bye-bye.